Good day, you sexy internet travelers! Bailey here, and today we are back with episode 7 of Kuzu no Honkai, so let's dive in! The episode starts off with Noriko sitting in her dining room with this air of refinement as she pours herself a cup of tea. And though this scene is subtle, it paints this pseudo-elegant tone for her personality, which comes into play a little later. The scene that follows is the date Hanabi has with this fool right here, and Hanabi's whole intent with this date was to try to get this guy to develop feelings for her. And what she failed to realize, though, was how complex the male psyche isn't. He is exclusively thinking about how to gain a full access pass to Disney World, if you know what I'm saying. And Hanabi didn't realize that, but in retrospect, she doesn't really feel as though she lost, because even though she only made him lust for her, she says she can't even tell the difference between lust and love. And I think this brings up an interesting thought in regards to how much of love is simply sexual attraction. I mean, as nice as it sounds to say, I'm not shallow, I don't care about looks, the reality is that statement's total bullshit, right? And I think we all like to underplay the significance of sexual attraction in a relationship, and I think we all like how it sounds when we say, oh, I only care about their personality and their intellect. But look around, right? When was the last time we saw a supermodel with someone that looked like Kim Jong dipshit? You don't ever see that. Now, going back to Noriko here, she is out on her date with Mugi, and she says at the start of the date that even though she wants to hold his hand, all she needs to be happy is for Mugi to turn and look at her. And we've all seen this I only need to see them to be happy scenario before, right? So we all know where this is going. They go to the movies, and she ends up displaying this change in perspective and feels that if Mugi never requites feelings for her, that this blissful love she has for Mugi will just be misery. Now, despite going on this date with Mugi, it becomes apparent during dinner that Noriko is not entirely satisfied, despite Mugi having much more of an engaged level of interaction with her than I expected, neglecting a phone call from Hanabi and even holding her hand while they were watching the movie. But Noriko is in constant distress, trying to ensure that she cements this date in her memory as this dreamlike experience. And in sensing Noriko's distress, Mugi stops to question her, which causes her to have an emotional breakdown, and Mugi goes in like a pro for that lip punch. This charming typical romance anime mood, though, doesn't last long because, of course, it's Kuzu no Honkai, and they won't let us have about more than 6.5 seconds of good feels before ruining it. They go back to Mugi's apartment, and Mugi questions if she had fun on the date, and she says she did, but that it was lacking, and pretends to not know why even though she does. Essentially, she manipulated Mugi with crocodile tears, and confesses that she has always used this kawaii crocodile tear approach to manipulate those around her, and so in manipulating Mugi to kiss her, she has robbed herself of her perfect fantasy. Though in prompting Mugi to have sex, he eventually declines as she makes it very obvious that she's uncomfortable. However, the way Mugi phrases his decline is interesting, saying that it's not due to the fact that he's proceeding with a regard for her, but for himself. And this is where we see Mugi's pride come into play. He is one of the few characters that consistently acts within his moral framework. Sure, it might be a jacked up framework, but he still tries to abide by it. Hanabi is trying to almost intentionally destroy her morality, and Noriko is doing the same with this episode. So it's nice to see Mugi still trying to retain his pride. Now, the episode ends rather oddly with Hanabi and Mugi meeting and deciding to tell them, who I assume to be Minagawa and Kanai, how they feel before summer vacation ends. And honestly, this scene felt sorta out of place and extremely abrupt. In previous episodes, and even in this episode, Hanabi was talking of how her main objective was to acquire the affection of other men, and now it seems we are suddenly heading in a completely different direction without any definitive catalyst. But of course, we are only at episode 7, so it's still too early to judge anything, and all we can do is sit back and see how it goes. Thank you all for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please share, like, and subscribe for more. And as always, stay sexy, internet travelers.